Dental School Experience Series, where we help you decide which dental school is right for you. Every school is unique and will provide a very different experience, so who better to explain what the school has to offer than the student who goes there? Our goal through this series is to give you a first-hand perspective of every dental school program across America and ultimately help you make the best decision on where to spend your 4 years of dental school. So today, we'll be showcasing Ashley Okoli, who is a second-year student at Texas A&M College of Dentistry. How you doing today, Ashley?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Not too bad, not too bad. You know, making it through the second year.
There we go. That's all we can do.
Yeah, that's it. So, welcome. And of course, thank you for joining us. Take some time out of your busy schedule during the summer semester. If you could, though, just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from originally, where you went to undergrad. If you did a master's, add that in there. And then also, what is your journey to dentistry? Like, what got you involved, interested in the field?
Wonderful. So my name is Ashley, as you already introduced. I'm actually from Dallas, Texas, so I came back home to go to dental school.
Okay.
I went to the University of Texas at Austin for undergrad, where I majored in human development and family sciences. So while it was in the College of Natural Sciences, obviously by the title, it's not a conventional science degree. So it focused a lot on family relationships, peer relationships, teacher-parent dynamics, how that affects a child, and things like that. And that just really piqued my interest. So that's what I decided to pursue in undergrad. I applied to dental school right after undergrad, so I didn't complete a master's. And I gained admission that following year. So here I am. I was initially interested in dentistry because I completed a internship at the school I go to currently, actually. And after that, I was basically sold, and this place felt like home. And so that's why I ended up right back here.
There we go. You were on it. Went straight from undergrad. I commend you. I don't know if I could have made it. All right. So I guess we could just tell us a little bit more about Texas A&M, exactly where it's located in Texas, and the first year class, how big it is. Just a little background information on your school.
Wonderful. So Texas A&M is located in Dallas. It's actually located in the heart of Dallas. So you're in the city. And Dallas is one of the largest cities in Texas. So definitely you get that feel of city life while being at Texas A&M, but still it's like its own little community nonetheless, even though you are right in the middle of all the action that Dallas has to offer. They're actually building a brand new clinic, which will be done by next year, or actually the end of this year. And so in that clinic is where patients will be, where students will be working on patients, and hopefully where they'll be building a new sim lab eventually. So geographic wise, that's where it's located. That's what it's looking like. It is definitely a smaller campus because it's not attached to a university like I know some schools are. But with the addition of the clinic, it definitely makes it a lot larger.
Cool. And how many people do y'all usually have per class?
So per class is about 100 students, maybe a couple more.
Okay. Very cool. When you were applying to school originally, I guess you really wanted to come back to Texas or stay in Texas for school. I guess what other things were on your list of attributes that you were looking for in a school while you were making your short list, and then eventually was staying home the ultimate reason why you stayed or why you chose Texas A&M?
Most certainly. So some of the things that ranked high on my list for picking a school were diversity, and Texas A&M is one of the most diverse dental schools aside from historically Black colleges and universities. And another thing that ranked high on my list was cost. Now, one of the things that I'm very fortunate to have as being a Texas resident is access to 3 of the cheapest schools in the nation. And Texas A&M is one of the, they tell us not to say cheap, one of the most affordable or best valued. I get a great valued education for the cost. So, I mean, that sold me even further. And then I really got a glimpse of what the school was like, because what's something that's really great about this series is you really don't know. I mean, you can read about curriculum, you can see pictures of the school, but it's hard to grasp what the school is like if you don't get insight from the students who go there. Mm-hmm. And I mean, by the time you're on an interview, it's like, is this fake? Is this real? Like, I really don't know. Did you bring puppets to talk to me, to sell me your school? So after getting to spend that summer at Texas A&M and getting to interact with the students and getting to hear various perspectives, it really just led me back there.
Got you. You kind of fell into place for you a little bit.
Yes, most certainly.
That's awesome. You spoke about the interview. Could you go back, rewind the time a little bit and go back to how the interview process was for you, showing up that day? I mean, obviously you came home for the interview, but, could you take me through the day of how it was and the scheduling for that?
Awesome. So the way they set up their interviews, they have two different groups. So you'll have a morning interview group and afternoon interview group. And I was in the morning group. So we arrived at the school in the morning and we were the first set to be interviewed. We got interviewed by 3 people. I believe each interview was about 12 minutes long. And so there's a little timer that goes off when you have like a minute left to start wrapping up the interview. You get interviewed by different people that work at the school. So some people get interviewed by the dean of education. Some people are interviewed by staff that work in admissions, but everybody gets interviewed by one person who is the person who's in charge. She's the head of the Department of Admissions. So every single person that comes to that school that gets interviewed goes through her. Okay. And those are your 3 interviews set up like that. Some of them are really casual, some a little more like, I guess, by the books, as you would expect an interview to be, like question, answer. Right. And it really just depends, I guess, on who is interviewing you and their preferred style.
Right. Sound like speed dating a little bit.
Yes.
Just a little bit. That's cool, though.
A little bit.
I guess it's kind of untraditional to have the back-to-back interviews like that.
Yeah.
There you go.
But it is nice to at least get interviewed by 3 people because at least it gives you a chance to see just the different type of people that do exist at that school. Because, I mean, if you are somebody who gets interviewed by one person who's very strict and, I mean, no smile type interview, it might make you feel differently than how you would be interviewed by somebody who is more of a conversationalist. So at least you get a little bit of it all.
Right, no question. So when you were at the interview, do you guys, I guess, do like a campus tour, then go on the interviews? Like, how was it structured?
So because they have the 2 groups, one is on the tour while you're being interviewed, and then you'll switch. So you'll go on the tour while they're being interviewed. And the tour is led by D4 students. Okay. So they've been at the school for a while. At that point, you can ask them anything. They let you know that, I mean, they're not, whatever questions you ask are not being reported back. It's just a time for you to really get any feedback that you need about the school. That way you can make that well-informed decision. They take you on a tour of the entire school and then you get to eat lunch with them.
Ooh, that's dope. Seems like a very chill or more relaxed style interview in an interview day.
Most certainly.
So now you finally got your acceptance to Texas A&M. You're happy you get to go home and everything. How was that transition heading into first year classes? I guess the transition into the city wasn't too bad for you going back home, but how was it, starting those initial courses? How was the orientation week? And then how did you kind of get settled into the schedule and the flow of school?
Most certainly. So transition to, city, like you said, I'm from Dallas. I live in a suburb, but I am from Dallas, so I was already just a little bit of familiarity definitely helps in that transition. I was used to being in a large city, having gone to school in Austin, so I guess I wasn't maybe afraid of some of the things that people fear when living in major cities or anything like that. So that was definitely a smoother transition. Now, orientation week was a week long. And in that week, we were there every day. I want to say 8 to 5 most days. And they were just going through different policies. We were meeting different people. Yeah. We had socials every night that were hosted by the upperclassmen. So it gave us a chance to meet our classmates before school started and also meet some of the other students that attend the school. So that's something that's really nice that they have. And then as far as the transition into like first year, I feel like there's nothing that could have prepared me for that transition because, it is an unbelievable amount of work, knowledge that you're expected to not only learn, but also retain because they will reference it back and you're really setting the groundwork for the rest of your dental education. So, I feel like everywhere across the board, regardless of what institution you attend, that first year is most certainly a rocky transition. I hear the same thing from people across the board. Now, I have heard that some people who got masters in sciences felt like that first year wasn't too bad because a lot of the classes they took in their master's program, especially if it was designed to mimic like the first year of professional school, they've already covered a lot of that coursework. So it made the transition much easier.
Okay, that makes sense though. It was pretty similar here, to see the masters, the people that did the masters kind of guiding other people through, helping them out with like anatomy, a couple of biochem classes, stuff like that.
Most certainly.
Cool. So, you actually finally get out of orientation, you're getting into the flow of the school. How was a typical day set up there? Like, how was the curriculum set up? Is it block style versus systems? And then, do you start getting into clinic? Like, how was it set up? I guess taking through a typical week, at Texas A&M for first year.
Most certainly. So a typical week is classes 8 to 5. Some days we do get out a little earlier, maybe 3, 4, but standard expect 8 to 5. And then we're in a block schedule. So you'll take biochem separately from anatomy, separate from oral histology. I'm like trying to think what classes we took then. And
it's stuck in the past. We don't want to get back there.
into the past. So you take classes in that block schedule. Now the curriculum is completely changing. So they're wanting to have a more integrative curriculum.
Okay.
So instead of the blocks that we take right now, it'll be more systems based. So you're learning about the heart. You're going to learn the physiology of the heart, the anatomy of the heart, the pharmacology of the heart, which helps mimic what national boards is moving towards. Whereas the NBD part 1 and part 2, the two exams being combined into one integrative exam.
All right. Okay, so and that's for, I guess, both semesters you have blocked the whole time. And
both semesters we have blocked. As it is right now, in those first 2 semesters, we're not in the clinic at all. We might go up there for rotations, and in the rotations we'll be assisting D3s and D4s in their procedures. Those rotations are scheduled, and they schedule you in certain clinics. So you go to the clinic and do whatever it is, depending on who you've been paired with, you assist them with whatever procedure it is that they're working on that day. But they're looking in the new curriculum to have first years in the clinic, even if you're not doing procedures, but it's giving you the opportunity to see what it's like being in the clinic, get acclimated to talking with patients and things like that. That way, when you actually make the transition to doing dentistry on people, like in third year, it definitely allows for a much smoother transition because some of that groundwork has already been covered.
Right. So when do you guys actually get into like pre-clin and sim-clin, doing preps on teeth and waxing up and all that? How was that transition getting into the more clinical aspect of dental school curriculum?
Got it. So in that first year, we're taking dental anatomy. So we're waxing for the first semester. The second semester, we take operative. So we're drilling. Now we do tabletop. I know some schools start in the sim head. So we start tabletop in operative. And then we go at the very end of that first semester, we take a couple of days where we go into the sim lab, and then we do operative in the sim heads, which is like night and day from seeing something with straight vision and then now having to like use a mirror and indirect vision. But I mean, as they say with anything, it comes with practice and time and exposure. I don't know if in the new curriculum they're looking to change that tabletop and go straight into the sim head, but I think a lot of that has to do with availability of space and the number of sim heads that are available to students use. But in second year, we're in the sim lab the entire time. So second year, we're taking all of our courses there, operative, again, removable, ortho, fixed. Those are all the lab courses, endo, all the lab courses we're taking. And wherever it applies, we're doing it in the sim head. So basically everything except removable, where we're setting teeth or dentures, we're doing that, of course, on the tabletop. And then ortho, of course, making appliances, we're also doing that on the tabletop.
Right. And when you get into third year, you said you guys start actually getting into patient care and all that. Do you guys still have any classes, or are you guys pretty much done with your curriculum after second year?
So in third year, we're still taking courses, but they have the schedule blocked off to where some days you're only in clinic, whereas some days you're taking classes the entire time. And then the new curriculum, especially because we are building a new clinic and they don't want students moving from one building to another in the middle of the day, we're going to have classes all day, one day at our current building, and then we'll be in clinic all day, another day at in the new building. And so those clinical appointments are broken up by morning appointments and then afternoon appointments.
Okay, so you have 2 appointments per day?
Yes.
Okay. I know here, apparently it's like foreign to have 3, because we have a 9 and then a 12 or 9 to 1, and then a 4:30, like an evening appointment. Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. Maybe it's because we have so many people. I'm not sure.
30 until when?
4:30 to 7:30.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's an evening block. Yeah, that's Monday through Thursday, and then Friday is just 9 and 1.
Okay. Yeah, clinic closes at 4:30, so
get out of there.
If it's not done, then it's time to reschedule.
I feel it. So for anyone looking to apply to Texas A&M, what would you suggest that they start focusing on now in undergrad? As an undergraduate student, what would they focus on to put them in the best position to not only get in, but also be successful once they do make it into or gain acceptance into Texas A&M?
Most certainly. I'm trying to think of it as school specific as possible. It's hard to say, I feel like, school wise, because I don't know if there's one thing that Texas A&M favors over things, but in general.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be school. It doesn't have to be school related.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So exposure to the dental field, more so for yourself than for them, so that you have confirmation that this is something that you really do want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I would recommend is, I mean, of course, numbers don't define us, but unfortunately, it becomes a numbers game, which is just the fact of the matter. So making sure to protect your GPA as much as possible, do what you can do to, if not maintain it at a good place, raise it, or show that you have a commitment to these science courses and that you can progress in them by pursuing a master's degree or taking additional courses after graduation. That DAT score, making it studying so it could be as competitive as possible, retaking if necessary for your circumstance. I feel like that's more so admission. I mean, that's more so, I guess, undergrad for gaining admission. Right. In terms of the interview process, something that I recommend is being yourself, because you are the person that they brought in for an interview. And at the end of the day, you are going to be the person that has to go to that school for those 4 years. Paying attention to what the school has to offer you as well. That way you can make a decision that best suits your personality, your learning style, your philosophy of practice. So you can really be in a place where you feel comfortable calling home for the next 4 years. In terms of preparing for admission, like a personal statement, I would definitely recommend, one, really thinking about the things that you've participated in undergrad and reflecting on those and reflecting on how those have affected your decision to pursue dentistry and the different ways that they have impacted you, and really focusing on the prompt, which is asking you, what is your desire to pursue a career in this field? Right. And what is it that you hope to bring to this field? So focusing on that, maybe not doing as much storytelling of your entire life background, really hitting hard on that question of why dentistry, and not only asking yourself why dentistry, but what it is that you hope to bring to dentistry. Because I mean, each of us have a different power and skill set that we can do that we have to bring to dentistry to make it better. And overarching, I'm like probably going too hard and on.
No, keep going.
Overarching across the board, both while in undergrad, while applying, writing your personal statement, while interviewing, regardless of what's going on along that process, is just recognizing this is your own journey. And I mean, people will tell you there's a way that it has to be done, and there's only one way to do it, but recognizing that your journey is unique to you, and the experiences that you participate in make whatever it is that you end up doing worthwhile, and the way that you do it is all about you, and it's not about what the next person is doing or how fast or slow everybody else did it around you, but really just honing in on the fact that this journey is ultimately about you. And if you can remember that, that will set you up for the greatest amount of success that you can have, not only while applying and trying to gain admission, but also throughout dental school.
Man, no question. That's awesome right there. You dropping on them. You got to start your little blog. Hold on, you got a blog? Hold on, what's going on?
Yes, I do. Okay. DearDentalSchool.com.
DearDentalSchool.com. Y'all heard it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and tap in. She got words of wisdom over there now.
Exactly.
Cool. So, as you know, a lot of, I guess, attention is being paid more to mental health now, especially with like a very hectic, very stressful career path like dentistry. You know, of course, it's like the stigma behind dentists having suicide rates and all that stuff. So how do you focus on your work-life balance? And does Texas A&M have any type of system set up, whether it's like a counselor, faculty being very involved? Like, what kind of systems do they have set up to help students, you know, deal with that transition and kind of balance that work-life balance and deal with the stress?
Most certainly. So we have an Office of Student Affairs, and that entire office is completely dedicated to any affairs that have to do with students, whether they're academically related or not. So we have professionals at the school that are available for you to speak to. Now, they are staff, but as a student there, we also have, I believe it's 3 free counseling sessions with a counselor that's off campus. So if there is maybe a subject matter that you don't feel comfortable discussing with staff members, you do have the opportunity to receive free counseling sessions and discuss whatever it is in that way. They're looking to, with the new space that we're going to acquire from moving into a new clinic building, they're looking to use that space to see how they can benefit students and different things that they can create to work best for the students. Right now, the person that's in charge of the office of, the person who is over the Office of Admissions, she hosts meditation sessions during lunch. So you get a chance to go to that. And I mean, just in general, the aura that's at the school, they really do care about the students. They want to see that you are at your best so that you can produce your best work. And there is faculty that you can trust to discuss with, to talk to. And I mean, a lot of the faculty are dentists, so they've been in your position at one point, even if it was extremely different when they were there. So they can, to some degree, resonate with the different things that you may be going through. Now, for me personally, for mental health, I actually went to for mental health and just in terms of like school life balance, really, for me, it's anything that takes me away from school completely. So I love to talk on the phone every single day. And I mean, when I came to dental school at first, I was like, okay, this is a habit that I need to put away because it might get in the way. But what I started to realize is that, man, I didn't feel like I had any escape. It was like everything now revolves around school all the time. And while school is an important part of life, it's important to realize that it's not every part of your life. That there are still relationships that you form before coming to school. There's a life that you lived before coming to school. There are hobbies that you participated in before coming to school. And so talking on the phone was my way of putting everything to the side and engaging in conversation and building relationships and still continuing parts of my life that I had prior to coming to dental school.
Right. Man, see? That's so important. A lot of people, I feel like, get caught up in the rank and the GPA, make sure, you know, they're top, and is, of course, like you said, it's important, but you know, being a person is a big part of it. Like, you don't want to lose that. Yeah, never want to lose your uniqueness and what you have to offer.
I definitely agree.
So we're gonna start wrapping up here, but you might have spoken on a few things already, but what are some major advantages that you see at your school? Just some things that are very unique to your school. Obviously, you've only had your one experience, but what are some things that you would never want to change about your experience so far at Texas A&M?
Okay, so number one thing, if I just had to pick one thing that stands out about my school, is definitely the diversity.
Okay.
Like I said, we are the most diverse not even public school, most diverse dental school in the nation, aside from historically Black colleges and universities. And so really getting the chance to learn from such a diverse population, not only in my faculty, but also in the student, really enhances that experience and gives you more so, I feel like, a reflection of what the real world is like. So obviously in practice, there's not just one demographic or one gender or one type of people that you will work with. You will see a variety of people, especially when you do start working with patients in the clinic. And so I think just having that as a constant reminder around us that this is something that diversity is something that we value and we work to increase it at our school, protect it at our school, means a lot to me. So that is something that I absolutely would not change. Every single year, one of the student organizations host a culture fest. And so we get a chance to try food, see culture, hear music from all the different cultures that are represented at the school. And it's just a reminder of just how rich not only the school is, but how this life in general really is.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. So last question, or last thing we'll hit on. Say I'm a pre-dental student right now. I may be struggling through my journey or anything. I guess what are some last, few words of advice that you could, give to the viewers out there that may be going through, some tough times, maybe along their journey, or just, looking for some extra motivation along this long journey, as we know it can be. So
most certainly. So, I already talked about the, realizing that it is your journey. So It's not about what everybody else has to say about it. It's not about how other people are doing it. It's really about how you mold it to make it your own. Mm-hmm. But another thing that I would offer is that if this is what you want to do, commit yourself to it completely, and it will happen. And it will happen in the best time for it to happen for you. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really important because, just tying into the whole thing about timetables and schedules, we get caught up on a timing that, it's really arbitrary. Like, who created that and who said that's the only way for it to be done? And when I'm in a class where I have parents, where I see people who are married, who have kids, like multiple kids, it's like, it reminds you that life is not linear. Neither will this journey be. Yeah. And however it happens is as it happens, but it's the best way for it to happen.
Man, great gem there. Yeah. Don't get caught up in the mix of what everybody else is doing. Just run your own race.
Exactly.
Awesome. So, we're not going to take up too much of your time. Like I said, thank you again for, joining us. If there, any pre-dents out there that want to ask you any more questions about Texas A&M specifically, or just maybe about your dental school journey, how could they get in touch with you?
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram at Dear Dental School. Mm-hmm. You can also find me at my website, www.deardentalschool.com.
Okay, awesome. So we'll make sure we put that information down in the description, your IG and your website, as well as the website for Texas A&M, so that any student wants to look into it more can definitely do so. But again, on behalf of FutureDDS, all of our subscribers and viewers, I'd like to thank you, Ashley, for taking some time out of your busy schedule. I know you got some finals to study for, but you definitely gave us some great insight, gave us great perspective on your experience so far in your journey, and some great wisdom for any dental student, pre-dental student going along their journey getting into dental school. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yep, no problem. Best of luck to you going forward. And everybody out there watching, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell, so we post up new content. Yep, down it's going to be down there. And, make sure y'all stay tuned to the entire series. Tap into these schools is a lot of wisdom, as well as, a great perspective on to help you make your best decision. What dental school is going to be right for you. That's going to be it. See you guys next time. All right, Ashley.
Thank you.